All right, everybody, welcome back. This is the first set of notes. Make sure that you update your table of contents. Today we are talking about radicals. That's the title of your notes. So what I want you guys to do is to go ahead and complete this table here. Figure out what each of these is equal to. So you should have gotten square root of 1 is 1, square root of 4 is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I know you can see this one at the bottom, but this would be 10. That's what we're going to be talking about today is square roots. I know you guys have seen square roots before. We're going to go into them with not only numbers, but with also letters. So before we do that, we need to write down some definitions. So you guys should go ahead and write down all 4 of these definitions here. Right here, the radical is this square root symbol. The A would be considered your radicand. Perfect square, that's whenever you guys have a whole number that you get from taking the square root. So like we had on the warm-up, the square root of 25 equals 5. That's a perfect square. Coefficient, that's the number in front of a radical being multiplied. So for instance, if I had a radical 2 radical 3, 2 would be considered my coefficient. Now, what we're really focused on today is taking the square root of these numbers, but not all of them are going to be perfect squares. They're not always going to give us the square root of 25 equals 5. I'm not going to always get a whole number. If you guys put this in your calculator right now, the square root of 24, you would see the square root of 24 is 4.89898. That's not a whole number. So anytime that happens, that you don't get a whole number, you want to simplify this to the most simplified radical. Well, the question is, how do you do that? You do that by making this number tree, okay? Come up with some factors of 24. What multiplies to give you 24? 2 numbers that I think of are 6 times 4. Well, what multiplies to give you 6? 3 times 2. And you want to go all the way down until you get to some prime numbers. What multiply gives you 4? Well, 2 times 2. All right, now, whenever we're trying to simplify these radicals, what we want to do is now look for all of our prime numbers. Here's all of our prime numbers right here. What numbers do I have a pair of? Well, I have a pair of 2's here. Where do my pairs go? My pairs are going to go outside of my square root. So I'm taking this pair of 2's, and I'm only going to have 1 2 represent this pair of 2's. Now, on the inside of my square root, I'm going to take these 2 numbers. These 2 are my loner numbers. These 2 numbers here are going to be multiplied and put down here underneath my square root because they are alone. They got nobody to be paired up with to go outside of the house. So when I simplify this, I'm going to get 2 square root of 6, and that right there is my simplified radical and my final answer. If I put this in my calculator, I would see this right here is the same as this. Let's do another example. Square root of 18. Some factors I have are 6 times 3. What multiplies to give me 6? 2 times 3. Those are prime numbers. That number is a prime number. I have a pair of 3's. My pairs go on the outside. I have a 2 that's all by itself, so that's going to go inside my house. This 6 I broke down, so I don't worry about that 6. This 18 I broke down, so I don't worry about this 18. 3 square root of 2 is my answer. Okay, you guys try this time. All right, let's take this and do square root of 32. That's going to be 8 times 4. That's going to be 2 times 4. That's 2 times 2. And 2 times 2. Now, I'm going to go back here for a minute. Notice when I got down here, I had a pair of 4s right here. I can go ahead, since I have a pair of 4s, I can go ahead and put those pair of 4s on the outside and put square root of 2 on the inside. If I had broken down those 4s like we had done on the other example, we would see that we got a pair of 2s here, a pair of 2s here. Each pair of 2s must go on the outside. The loner still stays on the inside, and I still get the same answer of 4 square root of 2. Either way that you do it would be correct. That's just another way to do it. All right, what about this one? I see square root of 16 over 64. Again, each one of these, sorry about that. Each one of these, put into your calculator before you guys start. If you do that, you will see the square root of 16 over 64 comes out to be 1/2. Now, maybe you are wondering, well, how does that work out? Well, what's really happening here is this square root of 16 over 64 breaks down to be square root of 16 over square root of 64. Each one of these numbers, it's telling us to take the square root of. Well, when I take the square root of 16, that gives me 4. The square root of 64 is 8. What does 4/8 simplify to? 1/2. My final answer. But again, everybody, that's the work. You can just put this into your calculator if you want to. Okay, again, you put it in your calculator. You see 2 square root of 48 gives you a decimal. Not what we want. So let's go ahead and start breaking this down. Now, what's different from this one versus some of the other ones we did, I have a coefficient. Okay, I have a coefficient this time. But I'm still going to take the same steps, and I'll worry about that too later. So 1 multiplied is going to be 48. 4 times 12. 1 multiplied is going to be 12. 4 times 3. Hey, I see I have a pair of 4s here. I'll go ahead and circle them. 3 is a prime number, so it's a loner. The pair of 4s go on the outside. The 3 goes on the inside. But I'm not done because we still have this coefficient here at the beginning. I have to still have that coefficient and multiply it with those 4s that I got. What is 2 times 4? 8 square root of 3. And again, type 8 square root of 3 into your calculator. Type 2 square root of 48 into your calculator. If you get the same decimals, that means you have the same answer and you have the correct answer. All right, go ahead and let's try number 1 here. Let's put it into our calculators. What do we get? Square root of 121 divided by 49. Go ahead and get that answer. Hopefully you got 11 over 7. That one is easy in our calculator. Let's try square root of 72. Oh, I see that's going to end up being a decimal, so we got to simplify that. Pause the video so you can try this on your own. Now, if you don't know the big number factors, don't be afraid, guys, to start with the 2 or the 3. Divide 72 by 2. If it gives you a factor, which it did, 2 times 36, well, keep going. Hey, 36, that's a perfect square, isn't it? That's 6 times 6. Well, that's a pair right there. I have a pair of 6s, goes on the outside. My loner 2 goes on the inside. 36 I broke down, 72 I broke down. There's my answer. All right, try number 3. same thing. Let's go ahead, 5 times 4, 2 times 2. I have a pair of 2s, so 2 goes on the outside. 5 is my loner, it goes on the inside. 4 I broke down, 20 I broke down. I did have a negative coefficient, so negative goes in front, making this my final answer. All right, guys, so you want to go ahead and go complete today's check for understanding. You guys have a few questions there to go help you practice this. As always, if you have questions, email them to me if you need any help. Wednesday and Thursday, I will have tutorials if you want to come to tutoring. All right.